I'd like to call this meeting of the Amherst School Board to session. But before we have a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to say that a couple of our school board members have had losses in their families, so if you could please keep the Orasi family and the Ligon family in your prayers, it'd be greatly appreciated. So stand for a moment of silence and Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Board, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? We have an agenda. Okay. Recognitions?
We have some recognitions. I'm going to start the evening up here so we don't have to come back and forth. So our first is our students of the month, and I want to just, when I call your name, come forward, and you can stand here in the middle, and then we'll get everybody up here and then do a picture at the end. We do have a certificate for everyone that we'll send back, and the picture we'll send to your building principals, and they can give that to the students next week when we get the pictures printed and everything like that. So tonight you won't get the certificate, we'll give it to the schools, they'll give it to the students next week. So our first student is from Amherst County High School, Taylor Guill. And Taylor was nominated by 5 different teachers this month. To summarize what they all said, it is clear that Taylor is incredibly positive and respectful of all people, no matter what. He is always willing to help anyone who needs a hand, and he is incredibly responsible. Taylor embodies all that we do, all that we hope to see in all of our students at ACHS. He is another kind of star as well. He is another kind of star as well. He is a star in our theater department, as you can see tonight, as he is currently playing the lead in the play Tartuffe. Taylor has straight A's and perfect attendance so far as well. Taylor's truly a super student, so thank you. From AEC, we had Jay Mullen. I don't think Jay is with us tonight, but I'll read. The teachers and the staff at AEC recognize Jay as a respectful and cooperative. He is accepting of teacher supervision and participates well in class discussions and activities. The student has followed the GED continuum and is now at a point of official GED testing. Jay is well on his way to completing the program, and he's our star student of the month. Amherst Middle School, Annie Carver. Annie. Annie is a remarkable student, excelling both academically and socially. Her optimistic attitude serves as a great example to all students, showcasing respect, responsibility, and resilience. She is a true blessing, constantly striving to improve herself and make the world a better place for everyone. Amherst Middle School is proud to recognize Annie as October 7th grade Student of the Month. Congratulations. Manelsa Middle School. Jerron Harden? Not with us? Okay. Jerron comes to school each day with a positive attitude and mindset that is focused on doing his best. During the first quarter of school, Jerron had perfect attendance and earned honor roll with a 4.5 GPA. He was also voted by his peers to be the 23-24 MMS school president for the SGA. His classroom teachers state that they appreciate his positive outlook and hard work in the classroom. Amelon Elementary School, Peyton Davis. All right, come on up. Peyton is ready each morning with all her materials and starts the day with a smile. She always has a ready hand to participate, as well as helping her peers. Peyton's grades and academic achievement are high quality, along with her attitude towards challenging tasks. She is much deserving of the recognition, and she continues to succeed in class. Peyton, congratulations. From Amherst Elementary School, Rafe Mason. Come on up. Rafe is an absolute joy to have in class. He is a positive thinker and comes in each morning greeting me with a smile. He is an extremely hard worker and is quick to listen. He's also a great helper. He is always willing to help when another classmate is in need. Rafe? From Central Elementary School, Emma Davis. Emma has shined as a star student in school by being an active participant in all classroom activities. She is a kind, hardworking student who is always willing to help her classmates and her teacher. Emma has shown perseverance when tasks have been difficult and has never given up. Emma is considerate and responsible, not only in our classroom, but throughout our whole school. Way to go, Emma. Elon Elementary School, we have Liam Fix. Liam is the Elon Student of the Month because he is a role model for others, works hard, and brings joy to each day with his wisdom and humor. All right, congratulations. Madison Heights Elementary, Donna Quintas Salinas. Donna is such a sweet person. Her kindness is displayed in everything that she does. She always has a smile on her face and is willing to help those who need encouragement and support. Congratulations. And finally, Temperance Elementary School, Rachel Arkenbright. Rachel continually gives 100% every day, even when the task is challenging for her. She keeps a positive attitude and is always a team player. Congratulations, Rachel. So we're going to try to get a picture of everybody real quick. So, Mr. Terry. Why don't a couple of y'all come down here on this end? Looks like y'all slide to the middle. Come down here. Come on here.
I'll go with strangers.
There we go. All right, kind of bounce that a little bit. Can you get us all? And parents, if you want to stay for the rest of the meeting, you're more than welcome to, but I know you may need to do other things, so if you need to leave, that is fine. All right. Next, we have our forestry field day results. And so those who don't know, I'll let folks kind of clear out as they're leaving. So our FFA team group competed at the state forestry field day contest at the state fair, and they won first place overall, which is the state championship for them in that category. So we want to recognize them. So on September 26th, they competed in the state forestry field day contest. They ran against around 30 other teams from all over the state. It's kind of like the steel timber sports competition where they have different activities they have to do. I know something that Mr. Mason has been working very hard on over the last few years to get to this point, and I think we're very proud to say that they have achieved, win the state championship in this. It's a great accomplishment. So, congratulations. And I believe y'all have your own certificates, things like that they gave you there, correct? Okay. But I want to recognize everyone and what they did. So, second place, when I call your name, please come forward. Second place, crosscut saw, Jaden Brown and Lance Clark. Third place in the log toss is Bryson Campbell. Third place in log roll, Kevin Ham and Landon Mays. Fourth place in Indian pump, Braden Hicks. Fourth place in bow saw, Spike Hunt. And again, their sponsor is Derek Mays. Derek? And do you want to say anything, Mr. Mays, real quick? First, congratulations.
Thank you.
I know these guys put in a lot of hard work after school, and it showed when they went to competition. And there are a lot of folks, a lot of my FFA members that helped out, that moved logs and switched out cants and run timers and helped with fill up tanks and stuff. And they're not here, but they also contributed to the win. So, congratulations.
Do we all stand up again?
They rolling logs around. No way.
This is, the best part of the night is
That's right.
recognizing everybody. So we also have another recognition of a staff member, and this is to Miss Lisa Lobb. Lisa, you want to come on up? You don't have to go all the way over. So Lisa's the recipient of the Donna Sterling Award, and this award is given to an outstanding educational leader in science, and there's only 2 given across the state. And so she's one of 2 teachers in the state of Virginia to receive this award. It's a great accomplishment and great recognition for all the work she has done for us here in Amherst County and across the state in leading science instruction. As part of her award, she receives a $4,000 reward from that, and plus she gets to present. I guess gets to is that? I guess that goes with it. She gets to present at the VASP training in December, correct? Or
It's next year.
next year?
Next year, I
Training,
have to
right?
share with them what I
Yeah.
learned at the professional development.
So she has to go to professional development and share back. She gets to get published in either the Journal of Virginia Science of Education or the Science Educator Journal. So she'll be published in either one of those. But again, it's a great recognition, and it just goes to show the great work that she does for our students and our school division. So I just want to congratulate you for this accomplishment. All right, so Our last recognition tonight is for the Manelson Middle School Music Department. So can Mr. Tomlin please come forward? And you know all you kids that are here, right?
I think so.
Okay, all right. So I'm just going to read a little bit about what they're here for. Manelson Middle School Music Department recently submitted an application to the National Association for Music Education to establish a chapter of the Tri-M Music Honor Society. This nationally recognized and distinguished honor society is the only music honor society for middle and high school students in the nation. Founded in 1936 and officially recognized and approved as the National Honor Society in 1983, the Tri-M recognizes music students who have gone above and beyond for both musically and academically. It provides students leadership opportunities to make a difference in their community and school through music-based service projects. Tri-M chapters across the nation annually contribute a total of 750,000 service hours and raise nearly $1 million for causes they care about in their community. The Tri-M holds student members to a high standard of excellence. I'm proud to announce that the Manelson Middle School is now officially recognized as a Tri-M Music Honor Society school, has been designated as Tri-M Chapter 9490. This is an exciting occasion for Manelson and the music department. So we have the actual charter. Do you want to have students come up too?
Yeah, we can do that.
So I present to you, and you can present, or you can give it to your students. How you want to do this?
We usually be nice.
So, to read the charter, it is this Tri Music Honor Society, a program, National Association of Music Education. Chapter charter that certifies that Manelson Middle School identifies a chapter number 9490 of the Tri-M Music Honor Society. This chapter's purpose shall be to inspire music participation, to generate enthusiasm for scholarship, to stimulate the desire to render service, and to promote leadership among the music students of this school. Established September 26, 2023. Congratulations. We'll get a picture real quick. Let's go. Okay. You can
So these are our 6 of our first 7 students that were inducted into the Tri-M. This is our student executive committee. So we have Rachel Vulamparthy, who is our chapter president. Chloe Chapman is our chapter, not the secretary, you're the treasurer. Trace Parr is our sentinel. Phoebe Hayes is our vice president. Carmen Bryant is our record keeper, and Rebecca Vulamparthy is our secretary. Not with us tonight is our chapter historian, who is Katie Wooten.
Congratulations, everybody. All right. That concludes the recognitions tonight. Thank you. Again, it's a great part of our evening to recognize our students, and we want to keep doing this every month. So thank you all for letting us do this tonight. And congratulations, everybody.
Thank you.
Always fun to see our kids and teachers getting recognized. We'll give those a couple minutes if they're trying to exit. So next, we're going to move into 3.01, public comment. Currently, we have one person signed up. Mr. Porter?
Board members. I'm Jeff Porter. I live at 478 Woody's Lake Road in Madison Heights, Virginia. It seems like in this month of November, it's appropriate for me to give thanks. And that's what I'm here to do. I want to thank each one of you board members, each one of you here who are staff, each one who is online, each one who is teacher or bus driver or works in any part of our school system. Each one of you, in your ways, have faithfully served the children and people of Amherst County. You work so that every child, every day, will grow and mature in knowledge and wisdom, in personal and social responsibility, in respect for all creation and for truth. Our children are not just our future, they are of value now. They are a voice to be heard and considered now. I am grateful for the ways in which you lift up our children and our teachers, like what we saw this evening. You know, one of the roles of leadership is to lift people up, to make them better. And that's what you all do as you work together. And for that, I'm grateful. For those moments and times in which you speak words of truth, words of care, for those moments and times when you speak out and your voice is clearly heard, and for those times in which, even though you might not see eye to eye, there are times when you have mutual respect and show each other honor. That's important for our community to see. We don't see a lot of that. You all need and have been models for that. And for those moments and times when you have, I give thanks. As I think about your plan as you've been working on your comprehensive plan, I began to realize that one of the ways that I am looked upon is a stockholder. Never thought of myself as a stockholder, but you all indeed have invested well with our money and with our time as citizens of this county, as residents. You've been good stewards, and for all those ways that you have, I give you thanks. I give you thanks that we not only have a past history record of working together, but are also in the place of moving forward together for every child, for every time. That's important. And for that, I give you thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That concludes the people who have signed up. Is anyone from the audience who'd like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. 4.01.
So, Mr. Chair, members of the board, 4.01 is the amended contract with the superintendent.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion that we approve the amended contract for the superintendent.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on.
4.02, they need to make a motion to give you permission to sign the amended contract.
I make a motion that we give Mr. Terry, Board Chair, permission to sign the superintendent's contract.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, there you go, sir.
All right, thank you.
Moving on, 5.01, go consent agenda.
I make a motion that we approve tonight's consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Moving. Oh. 6.0.
So 6.01 is school board committees.
Gotcha.
So this is open to discussion. But the desire for the board to, if you want to discuss committees focusing on school board policy and so forth, I'll turn it over to the board to discuss.
Okay, board, any discussion?
Well, I guess I'll start it off. We've had some conversation, several board members have talked with me about our policy BCE. And our policy BEC currently allows for special committees to be appointed by either the board chair or voted on for us as a board. I've been on the board for 7 years, and there are times that I feel like we can be more effective if we were to have specific committees to help us do a little bit of background work, to help us understand better. And one of the places that I have felt a need is just to look at our policies or see if we need to bring any up for review, if we are looking at some of our policies from VSBA, to help us sit down with the administration, to look over some of our questions, get them answered, so that when we come here before the board, the committee can share some of their findings with us. So I know that Mr. Terry reached out about ways that we might be able to have that special committee, or do we want to make it, like say we were to approve a policy committee, do we want to make it a standing committee? In order to make it a standing committee, we'd have to change policy BCE. Our attorney has advised that we consider maybe just doing a special committee for policy for a year, letting us try it and see if it's viable, if it's working, and if it benefits us. It doesn't make us more effective. If it does, then a year from now, we could address the policy change that we might need. So, that's what I would be recommending tonight, is just looking at maybe doing a special policy committee for a year to let us see how it works.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am?
I have a few questions. Exactly who would be on that committee? It's the first I'm hearing of everything.
Well, I
so.
think it would be, the board would have to approve 2 members that would sit down and work with the staff. And that might be something we want to consider waiting and doing after the election.
Well, I have one concern with that is it's every board member's responsibility to remove or to review all the policy. That's our main job.
Correct, and it wouldn't eliminate that. It would just help support that. So for example, there are times on this board that I have suggested making some changes, but I don't often have time to sit down with another board member and the staff and to sit there and ask some of those hard questions. How does it affect the staff? So it would just make my understanding more well-rounded, I think.
I'd have to think about it. I'm sorry, the review policy, that's every school board member's. That's what we're here for, to review policy, to set policy for the school, and I just don't see the purpose off the top of my head of why we would need a separate committee of just 2 school board members to do that.
Well, I think the premise behind it is to just provide extra information to the board, let them have those the discussions, like I said, ahead of time to find out the impact of and some of the changes. So, and can carry that forward.
Well, I believe we've already have done that.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For myself, one of the benefits I see to this is that it gives an opportunity for collaboration with representatives of the board, with administration, teachers, those who are affected, to research so that when we come to the board meeting, everyone's doing their due diligence. You know, that's not going to stop. But hopefully, it can be streamlined a little in that maybe some of those questions that I might have, or Lori might have, anyone might have, can have been researched already to be presented. And then instead of saying, so Dr. Wells, can you look into this for us this month? And then we'll talk about it next month. And then the next month comes and well, we need to have the lawyer look at it again. We can get some of those things done before, so that when the board comes together and they've reviewed their policies and questions, maybe it can be more efficient with our time here in the board meetings and be more efficient with getting policy implemented.
Mr. Chair, I
Yep,
currently
yes, ma'am.
already speak with our staff, our teachers, our community members, our parents about the policy. So again, that's our job for each and every one of us to do that.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Berg, I agree with you 100%. That is all of our jobs, and that is the job that we will continue to do. There are times that we may want to have some discussion about making some changes in a proactive way. And those discussions might benefit us to hear from the staff, to hear from people that it would involve before we were to even bring it up. So those types of questions, I mean, people bring policy suggestions to me as vice chair. Well, I'm just one person. So to have someone to collaborate with, to consider things together, those type of things can help move us forward in a more efficient manner than opposed to just throwing something out there to the wind and hoping it sticks. We can talk about it. We can do our due diligence. We can not only just approve VSBA policy, but we can look at policy that might be of interest for us as a board.
I just have a big concern. I just don't want to have an extra committee and then have, I'm not naming names or anybody would do that, just have this, everybody else just be rubber stamping that they already looked for it or looked through it. They already did their due diligence. I don't have to do it when it's all our job, all our responsibility to do that.
And again, I'll reiterate, everybody on the board would continue to do their job.
Yes, ma'am.
So would you guys be like, let's say you're on it and Ginger's on it, would y'all be the points? Is that what you mean? So if we have questions, if we've read it and then we have questions, we would go to you all or we still go to staff? I guess I'm just a little confused. I'm the newbie, so explain it.
My thought is sometimes when there's questions, it's like, well, here's an issue that we have. But then there comes a time that you have to say, how are we going to change it? Well, there's been times that we are having to make decisions here as a board on how to change that verbally. And I know at one particular instance, we were sitting here, we had to take a break, and we were coming up with verbiage just on the fly. And to me, that's not professional. To me, we need to be saying, okay, if this policy that we are reviewing, we have a concern with it and we want to change that, then we need to maybe take time to word and do that verbiage change and then bring it to the board. Now, the board can, by all means, review that change. But then that would just give us an opportunity to not have to flesh all of that out here at the last minute. It gives us an opportunity to, if you have a concern, you can go to the superintendent at any time. You could talk with the fellow board member that's on the committee, and then can work with Dr. Wells to formulate some of the concerns we may have in a viable manner before it's brought to us as a board. And of course, they can always bring the original. They can bring something that has been changed. It just opens some collaboration and communication ahead of time.
Anything else from the board?
Mr. Terry?
Yes, ma'am.
I would just mention that I know Bedford and Shenandoah have committees similar to this and have found it to be helpful in the fluidity of their process.
Okay. Okay.
Are we closing discussion?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. All right, Board, believing that a well-defined and purposeful committee is a way for our board to more effectively manage our responsibilities and duties, I move we create a special committee consisting of 2 board members and staff for the purpose of considering, reviewing, evaluating, understanding, and recommending policy or changes to the Amherst County Public School Board, which may include regulations or practices. This committee would be a special working committee for 1 year, at which time the board would consider whether or not it would be a standing committee requiring a modification of policy BCE.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Well, it's not really I listened to all of this. So are we trying to, is it an action item tonight? Or is it a thought?
Well, I've made the motion tonight.
So it's an action item? I'm just asking. And I probably should ask this before. How would the 2 or 3 people be chosen? By the chair? I should have asked and discussed. I apologize.
I would imagine they would volunteer, but
Volunteer. So it's called the Committee of Committees. I mean,
much.
something like that. Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not for forming many more committees. I see the justification behind it. And I think we'd really have to monitor that carefully for that year, that it did not become, as Ms. Berg was putting, paraphrasing, too confusing. We don't want to take the power, if I may use that word, from the board, from all 7 members. As long as we make sure that we stay in line, that these committee members will merely inject and help and have an understanding. But we don't want to remove what 7 people could have to 2 people. We should be real careful with that. And that could happen because I read policies, and as Ms. Berg said, we all have lots of policies we've read through the years and still reading some, and we still need to do that. So I imagine this committee is just going to be a helper, like you said, to, now let me ask this committee will talk to administration ahead of time?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yep.
I mean,
So-
Dr. Wells would be the one who would get it together and work with us.
Typically, it'll be no more than 2 board members, because you can't have more than 2 for meeting purposes. You have 2 board members, and then individuals from my staff would work, if y'all approve, the way I envision it, would work with my staff in reviewing policy. So if it was an HR-related policy, Mr. Gallagher might be involved in it. If it was a student instructional type policy, Dr. Norman would be involved with it, but I'd be involved in all. And so we'd be working jointly with us to discuss those policies and then bring information back to the board regarding those policies. And if there were recommended changes from the board, for example, if y'all wanted to change a policy, then you could give that information to the 2 people on the committee to come to us to help us work on phrasing what that policy, the verbiage of that policy, so the board would give guidance to the committee members to come back to us to help rewrite the policy if it's something I want it changed. So I see it, personally, I see it as a way to just help with some of, if it's approved, I think we could make it a way that board still has their say and everything, but just to be more of a liaison between us and the board, and when policies come forward, they could have more information to share with the board. Again, who's selected, that's up to the board. Y'all decide who gets on the committee, but it could be any more than 2 just because of meeting requirements.
Yeah. Oh, so I understand that. That's a clear understanding. So it's more of an ad hoc committee, so to speak. We're just not using that word. And so you would bring recommendations, solutions if necessary, but the final vote will still rest with the board. Am I right? Just want to be clear on that. So, I mean, you know, I'm okay if we wanted to pilot it. Let's just say we're gonna pilot this thing for a year. And I don't see where it could do any harm as long as we keep in contact that 2 people are not trying to carry the weight of 7 as far as policy is concerned. And that we don't have that type of situation here in Amherst. I'm not really concerned about what other boards do. I'm saying in Amherst, we want to make sure that it's all 7 members are able to vote, but I have no problem with ad hoc and kind of a reference to us or a guide to us. Okay, thanks for it.
So I think for clarification too, we might need to clarify your motion, Ms. Thompson. Would it be a year from today, or would it be the calendar year, just the year? Would it be, you know, the school year, a year, calendar year, or however y'all want to phrase that? So just make sure we're clear on that as we make the motion.
I guess in my mind, I was thinking that it was a year from when the committee
Okay.
started.
Okay.
Ms. Saunders, do you have something?
Well, I just want to know if we, you know, change the board of the 2 around at certain times, that would maybe help with Ms. Berg's concern, and then give everybody that opportunity to, you know, be on the special committee.
Any other discussion? So do you need the motion?
So y'all made a
Clarify.
motion in a second.
Yes.
So you need to, since you have the motion in a second, y'all would need to take a vote.
Okay, is it clear enough for you?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we have a motion and a second. Discussion is closed. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So that being said, I will, again, think you wait and see what the outcomes are. And this will give you December to kind of come up with the finer details of it, per se. And then January, once, if there are any changes to the board based off the election, and that way it would be coming to effect in January if you had to do anything. I don't think there's any need to assign committee members until we know what the outcome of Tuesday is. And once we get the outcome of Tuesday, then I think you could make decisions from that point.
Okay.
Well, I think we could make, Mr. Chair, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we would make decisions, like Dr. Wells said, about the process. But we will not change that the vote has been,
Right.
you know, sometimes people think that new members coming on or not, they'll say, no, we're not going to do that. But we've already voted to do this for
Correct.
years. We'll make that clear.
Yeah, it's the process and the members. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they could affect who's on the committees. Yeah. Okay. Moving on, sir, 7.01.
So 7.01 is a presentation on the comprehensive plan. So we're required to review information from the current comprehensive plan. And so this is on the current plan, just so you understand that we're in the process now of developing the next comprehensive plan, which runs from 2024 to 2030. So we're in the process of beginning those committees and things like that now. Again, as I said last month, you're all welcome to join to be a member of one of these committees. I know 2 of you have graciously volunteered. If anyone else wants to be on a committee, just let us know, and we can plug you in on those committees as well. Again, this is going to be a high-level overview. It's going to be high level. I'm not going into the finer details. You have at your place and on board docs the more comprehensive analysis of the comprehensive plan. But in the essence of time, it would take me 2 hours to go through that. I don't think we all want to sit here but if you can read it. If you have questions about the current plan, where we are, what we've done, reach out to me or to my staff, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you have. Again, I will say before we get started with this as well, that, you know, this was written in 2019. This was written prior to COVID. So some of the ideas and things we had prior to COVID changed during COVID. And so some things we thought we wanted to try to do, we didn't get done because of the changes that came into effect from the COVID-19 pandemic. There we go. All right. So the comprehensive plan is just a long-range plan and how we collect data and move, and the plan is developed with staff, and the board approves this plan, and you'll approve the next plan hopefully by June, because it has to go into effect by July 1st. All right, comprehensive plan analysis. So again, we had basically 6 areas that we focused on with the current comprehensive plan. And again, those 6 areas were community engagement, equity, human resources, operations, student outcomes, and student supports. And so again, I'll go through these from a fairly high level view here. So community engagement, with this, again, we're focused on how do we get the community, again, as it says, engaged with our schools. Before COVID, this was a priority. And after COVID, it's even higher priority because during COVID, we told people they couldn't come into our schools and we couldn't be here because of the pandemic. So we really wanted to make sure that post-COVID, we've done some work on that aspect as well. So I'm picking out a few areas here. The main thing with this one is we have, with this first one is community engaged, communication strategies. And so these strategies, we had a few high points here. We had creation of communication plan. So that communication plan has social media, website design, YouTube channel, newsletters, local media strategies. We created a division-wide calendar, and we surveyed stakeholders regarding their communication preferences. And we also partially implemented the communication plan. So the plan was, we developed it, but we couldn't fully implement it. And some of that was because, again, of COVID and how we had to change what we did here with how we ran our schools basically due to the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, how do we get everybody back in gear? The second objective here was we want to create opportunities that empower families and community stakeholders to effectively collaborate in the education of their students. So we restructured the Parent Advisory Council. Again, we focused on engagement and promoted through the volunteer program and Show Up Amherst initiative. And then again, COVID-19 really hit us here. I think we were starting to make some headway, and then March of 2020, the world changed, and we haven't recovered from that yet. The third objective was focus on developing community partnerships. And so even though it was not part of the initial plan, we did enter into partnerships with the Ed Foundation and Iron Lives to form the Show Up Amherst initiative, to start that initiative. I've been working with local businesses such as GLAD, Greif, Buffalo Air, and Sweetbriar College to develop partnerships that are beneficial to both them and our community and to us. We're encouraging businesses to partner with our schools and adopt a school and engaged in volunteering at our schools. And then we had the Community Leaders Breakfast, in which we had community members come in, and we had the Community Leaders Breakfast to recognize them for their partnership and coordination with us. What we weren't able to do, really get into the true partnerships with local businesses and have that list of partnerships. Objective 4 was create a welcoming school environment. And so here we focused on bringing the community back into our schools. Prior to COVID, we were working on this. Again, during COVID, it all stopped. Now it's been a point of emphasis to get them back into our schools. We've also really focused on maintaining our grounds, making our grounds welcoming to the public. In order to help do some of this, we did the Community Connections Dinner last year, which we'll do again this year, and again, the Community Leaders Breakfast, but also going out to people and doing that. And when we did our tailgates this year, getting the community to come to the tailgates, come back to the school. The schools are doing a multitude of things that gets people to come into their buildings to try to encourage them to come back into schools. We really want our volunteers to start showing back up and coming into our buildings as well. All right, so that's all the stuff that's the high points of community engagement. Are there any questions on that? No, if not, I'll move forward. Again, this is the 100,000-foot view. The details are right there in board docs. So under equity, we had the next area was on equity, and then we want to build culturally responsive schools, provide students with access to the resources they need to maximize their education, and identifying and removing barriers in our current policies and systems and practices. So first thing we need to talk about under equity, the first bullet there is a culturally responsive school. And I think it's important to really think about what is a culturally responsive school, because I think there's so many buzzwords out there that people don't really understand what it's talking about. So I just want to clarify this with everyone. And basically, a culturally responsive schools are educational institutions that recognize, respect, and actively incorporate the diverse cultural backgrounds and expectations of their students and communities. into all aspects of their operations. These schools are designed to create an inclusive and equitable learning environment where every student feels valued and has the opportunity to succeed. Some key characteristics of this are cultural awareness, where educators and staff are aware of the backgrounds of their students. So we want our teachers and our staff to know the backgrounds of their students in the building. Inclusive curriculum, designed to reflect the diversity of the student body, incorporating diverse voices, histories, and perspectives. Responsive teaching practices, using teaching methods that accommodate different learning styles and cultural backgrounds. We want to tailor instruction to meet the needs of all of our students. Cultural competence, we engage in professional development to enhance the competence, allowing them to better understand and support students from different backgrounds. Community engagement, again, a key here. We try to actively involve parents, families, and the wider community in the educational process. We want parents and the community involved in our schools. Equity and inclusion. They prioritize equity and inclusivity, working to limit disparities in educational outcomes among different groups. So basically, we want all of our students to succeed. Cultural celebrations. We celebrate the diversity through events, activities, and programs that showcase various cultures and traditions. In safe and inclusive environments, efforts are made to ensure that the school environment is welcoming and safe for all students, regardless of their cultural background. So the culturally responsive education recognizes that students bring their unique backgrounds and experiences into the classroom, and that effective teaching involves connecting with and building upon those backgrounds. So we have to build those relationships, and this is what it's really talking about, is building relationships with our students and understanding where they're coming from. It's a holistic approach to education that aims to foster not only academic success, but also a sense of belonging and cultural identity. And if we don't have that relationship, if we don't know where students are coming from, it's very hard to engage them in instruction and learning. So I just wanted to hit that with you real quick so people understood what it is we're talking about. And so when we talk about culturally responsive schools, that's what it is. Basically, we want to engage with our kids to make sure we understand where they're coming from and focus on their strengths and what we can do to help them. So for the first one, again, build a responsive school. So the highlights here, we looked at Minority Recruitment and Retention Committee was created. We're trying to foster community partnerships. We're looking at entry and exit data for staff. We're ensuring consistency of practice for our administrators. And we're trying to make sure we have staff that understands the needs of our students. The next objective is provides all students with access to the resources needed to maximize their academic growth and potential. So we look at tag identification. We looked at the parent request processes needs to be clearly communicated, and we worked on that last year with going out to elementary schools, make sure they understood that where you need to be in math in 6th and 7th grade really impacts where you go as far as some of these other programs, as far as governor's school and STEM and things like that. We need our administrators to monitor enrollment of minority students in advanced courses. We're focused on that. What we weren't able to implement was strategies could not be implemented, such as an advancement committee and associated responsibilities. And then we couldn't build upon a student mentor program. So we really wanted to get the mentor program going, the student mentors, but that kind of fell to the wayside during COVID. The third objective under equity was to identify and remove barriers in our current policies, procedures, systems, or practices that limit opportunities and or remove students from the educational environment. So what we've been doing there is training is provided regarding equitable behavior management and disciplinary practices. We have school-based ACPS teams, which look at behavior matrices, data collection and monitoring and coordination with intervention and support teams. So looking at student data and what is those students doing and what kind of behaviors are they exhibiting. We look at school climate surveys, and we've had numerous teams and committees to look at policy, practice, and data throughout the year or years over this policy, over this objective. And that summarizes equity again. Trying to hit it kind of quick. Any questions on that one? Okay. Human resources. The objectives for human resources. The first objective was to actively recruit a large pool of highly qualified, representatively diverse candidates for consideration to meet the needs of our students. So we have developed a comprehensive recruiting plan. We utilize social media as well as radio, television, billboards, and flyers. We build upon relationships with local colleges and universities. We had our career fair and try to get folks in here for the career fair. And those were some of the highlights of active recruiting. Employee induction. So we do employee induction that supports professional orientation, multitude of orientation, onboarding, and induction programs. And we also had building principals implement site-specific new teacher orientation. So looking at what can we do to make our teachers feel welcome and wanted here in our school system. Objective 3 was implement a comprehensive professional development that is aligned with ACPS's mission and vision. And here we're able to implement a division-wide professional development plan. We have building principals utilize the framework of the comprehensive school improvement plan. And we annually survey staff to determine professional development needs. And then we base our training off of those needs. Objective 4 was to implement a division-wide mentoring program. All new teachers go through a mentoring program or assign a mentor. All new teachers to the division, not just new teachers, but everybody who transfers it comes into the division and gets assigned a mentor. And we have training for all teachers that serve as a mentor. And we have a lead mentor structure to include lead mentors that provide professional development to the division. And objective 5 was provide support and recognition to all employees, focus on increasing job satisfaction. So here we implement the Employee Wellness and Recognition Committee. They instituted a Teacher of the Year and Support Staff of the Year, which we'll be getting for nominations for that here pretty soon. We have a wellness program, and we've implemented the staff recognition program. Okay. Operations. Any questions on HR before we go into operations? Okay. Under operations, we were able to do a lot of this because it just didn't require a lot of face-to-face meetings with people, so we could do a lot of these things under operations even during COVID. So the first thing under operations was to assess the building capacity and facility needs. So we did the facilities needs assessment. And from that, we looked at all the status of our buildings. The high school construction project is a result of that assessment. We also separated the capital improvement projects from maintenance projects in the budget. And we explored opportunities for energy cost savings through building efficiency. Next objective was to establish and maintain secure and safe environments for our facilities. So we collaborated with local law enforcement and emergency services to revise their crisis plans. We conduct walkthroughs of their buildings with staff and law enforcement. We did digital mapping of our buildings. We built the vestibules at all of our buildings to make sure we had security vestibules and entryways to all of our buildings. And all staff have been trained in stop the bleed training. So if there's an emergency, they know how to do the stop the bleed training and threat management. Objective 3 was construct a consistent and contemporary virtual presence that promotes digital citizenship. COVID-19 actually helped us in this one because we thought this would be a longer process, but within 7 days of the shutdown, we had one-to-one. So we went from regular, always how we did it, to a one-to-one within about 2 weeks. And so that's kudos to the staff for making that happen. We also made sure all buildings are Wi-Fi outside and inside. We updated the Wi-Fi at all our buildings, and then COVID kind of led to that as well. And the fourth one under Operations Objective 4 is look at the transportation system. And so we're really focused on recruiting and retention programs with our transportation department. We looked at software programs, but then and the routing programs and things of that nature, and some of the things we were looking at due to COVID and budget we didn't implement, but they're going to probably continue into the next round as we look at the plan, look at our software, because the routing software, you're only going to be as good as the routing software lets you be because there's so many different variables that go into that. How do we route students, and really looking at how can we be more efficient with that. So that's probably something that's going to continue. Student outcomes. So really here we're focused on all students participate in educational experiences that prepares them for the challenges and opportunities of life in the ever-changing world. So the first objective was all students pre-K through 12 will be challenged and supported to achieve a high standard of academic performance. First thing on this, most recent, which isn't in this presentation, is All in Virginia, because we just started that last week when we were kind of working on this. That hadn't come out yet. So one of the big things is the implementation of All in Virginia. Also, all of our schools are fully accredited and emit state and federal assessment requirements. We've looking at master schedules to maximize instructional time for students. We've implemented the division level support team, and we have a supervisor of innovation and learning position that was created to really focus on project-based learning initiatives. Also on student outcomes, objective 2 was to offer individualized and learner-driven opportunities to prepare students for post-secondary education, a viable career path, or military service. So we really want to increase student enrollment in advanced placement, dual enrollment, CTE, and service careers. We did see an increase in early college participation. However, we have seen a decrease in governor's school applications for students that are qualified for governor's school since the pandemic. The school board adopted a textbook Chromebook package that allowed for the 120 initiative. And Amherst County Public Schools is focused on providing elementary and middle school students with an increased awareness of careers and opportunities in Amherst County. Several initiatives include the career days, the career bus, which will be at Central tomorrow, and the integration of workplace readiness skills. So if you get a chance to go to Central tomorrow, what time, Craig? 11. So it'll be there. Y'all can go watch the students on hit the career bus. The third objective was civic engagement, and we want to ensure all students will be offered opportunities to learn and participate in age-appropriate civic engagement activities. So we promote student participation in community activities. We have clubs, extracurricular activities, community projects, and service learning programs. We conduct student forums at the secondary schools, and we have the Day of Giving. And also tomorrow, we're going to have the Juvenile Domestic Relations Court Judge Butler and Mr. Carver, Commonwealth Attorney, will be coming to the high school to speak with our high school seniors, at least half of them because they're there till 10:30, about now that you're turning 18, the differences in the law between a 17-year-old juvenile and 18-year-old adult and what those look like. We're going to try to get them there to get the rest of the seniors that aren't able to get this first day. So they need to really understand that as they move into adult life, because there is a difference from a legal perspective. All right. Student supports, last section. So here, first objective was prioritize mental health awareness. And this is a priority for us, especially post-pandemic. We have seen, the needs for this, and so we're still working with this, but we've implemented a mental health team, ATSS teams, and resource mapping. The mental health team was formed in October of 2021 and continues to work towards a comprehensive mental health plan. And we're also training staff in youth mental health first aid to be able to train the trainer with their own staff in their buildings. Student support, we also objective 2 was create a culture of student empowerment. So here we've had student forums have been conducted annually at the high school and the middle schools. And I meet with students' councils at the middle schools and high schools and talk to them quarterly regarding issues in the building so they can have a connection with me and we get ideas about how we can improve instruction and improve life in the schools from them. I talk to the principals about that. The third objective was to acknowledge the position of schools in the continuum of care by engaging and collaborating with the community. This was one, again, that COVID-19 really hit us. So what we were able to do, though, is engage with community groups to promote parent education and supports. We collaborate with Amherst Caring Coalition, which is a trauma-informed space right here across the road for family meetings or homebound instruction, as well as a space for them to do laundry and other things when they need it. So we're trying to work with our community on that and give them opportunities there. Integrate school and family supports. Again, a student family support specialist position was added. We have a supervisor community outreach position was added. We have summer school programming has grown. 2 years ago, it was really high because of all the funding for it. Last year, it dropped. I think this year, we're going to have more funding, again, due to the money we got in the updated budget. So we'll put more money towards that this summer. We've also partnered with Johnson's Health Center to provide wellness screenings during the summer, and we provide meals to students during closure and summer breaks. And also looking at local internet providers. But that's been something we've the internet providers access was big back when we first started, especially during COVID. But that's become more of a county function than a school system function. So we've kind of given that to Jeremy and his team because it's more in their line than ours. So that is the overview of the current plan. Again, that's a 100,000-foot view. And next, we have to hit our 24 to 30 plan, which we're in the process now. So look at the timeline on that. So in August to October, we started review. We assigned subcommittees in October. We'll do community forums November 28th and December 6th. November 2nd, we're here. November 23rd to the 24th, subcommittees will do their work. I hope to bring you a draft in the March-April timeline. We're required to have a public hearing on it, so that'll probably be in the April-May timeline. Also in April-May timeframe, revisions from the board, and then in June, we'll come to you hopefully for approval, and then they'll go into effect July 1. Again, you're all welcome to get on any of those committees you want to be on, but we can't have more than 2 members on any one subcommittee, just because of legal requirements. So, questions? I tried to get it to you as best as I could. Sorry.
That's a lot of information. Anything from the board? Go ahead.
2 things.
Yes, ma'am.
One, thank you for all that work. It was really nice to see the clarity of what's been done and what's left to do, and where you could piggyback on that. That's really good. There were 2 things that caught my eye that maybe as we move forward, you can share more information. I'll forget them if I don't mention them now.
Okay.
One was under Student Support Objective 1, the Youth Mental Health First Aid. I know you've talked with us about implementing that, so just maybe what does that look like and where are we in that process? Patron can answer
I
don't mean you have to do that
Well, she
tonight,
can probably
but,
tell you right now, 'cause she-
well, that'd be great.
Is this working? Okay. So Youth Mental Health First Aid, we had, Stephanie Mullenkamp actually got grant funding for us to have several members trained as trainers. We had up to 7 or 8 people trained, but a few of those have left, including Stephanie now. So I think we're sitting at 5 people in the division that are trained as trainers. We have trained about 70 staff members in the division over the last year and a half or so. The goal is to train all of our staff, but that is a lofty goal because we, have a lot of staff and they turn over frequently. So we're working on it, and we have used professional development days. We've talked about doing things on weekends. We've also partnered with Horizon, who has trainers as well, and they're willing to do things on weekends. So it's in motion, but it's going to take a long time before we get to our goal.
What are you training the staff in? Is it like to be a first responder?
Yes, it's like CPR, but for health. Well, it's like first aid training, but for mental health. So it's about recognizing the signs and symptoms of mental health, and then just what to do about that. Who do you refer them to, and how do you say things without making things worse?
How do we communicate to our students who those first responders are?
So students would just still go to their counselors, because counselors are all trained in mental health first aid. So this is something that is like an extra toolkit for teachers and other staff. It's not something that we would advertise kids like, hey, go to this faculty member. They should still go to their counselors.
Okay, and the other question was the gifted process and the advanced programs that we have, getting that information to parents. I was noticing that it was something that had been started but maybe not fully implemented. Where has that breakdown? I know that's been about 2 years ago we were looking at getting that rolling. So is it that we've pushed it out and it's just not getting to parents, or?
We are in the stages of still moving forward with that process. Earlier in August, I asked all the principals to have on their website the referral process so that anyone can refer someone to be screened for testing. I think that was part of the holdup as far as trying to get that information to parents as well as school counselors and teachers as well. So as of right now, the referral is on every website for every school so that the tag specialist would be notified immediately, and that way it begins the communication process with the parent directly.
Okay. And teachers know all of that, to point in that
Yes,
direction?
teachers were
Okay.
informed about that in August as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Berg.
I just had a follow-up for Dr. Petrone. For part of the training, are we going to be, or do we have training or doing training that's going to help teachers and staff recognize children going through trauma and picking up on different things with them?
So we had done extensive training on trauma right before the COVID shutdown, and we're starting to get back to that. I would say that we definitely need some refreshers in that area, and it's something we've talked about both in the mental health team and in other meetings at the division level. Having the time in the professional development schedules sometimes a challenge, but it's on our radar and something we want to bring back out and do some refresher trainings on.
Oh, one more quick just popped in my head. Our SROs, are they trained in that, do we know?
I honestly don't know the answer to that.
They have some basic training. Some of them do have some CIT training, mental health training, and they use this when they work with citizens on the street, as well as some of them actually serve in the hospital settings to provide security at the hospital for mental health patients as well. So a lot of them do have the CIT training.
And part of the SRO training does cover some how to deal with students going through crisis too. That's part of their training with that, but it's not the same level as what our teachers have been receiving.
We are going to do brush up on that, though, with some of our staff.
We don't have a date or anything yet, but it's on the radar of things we need to accomplish, yes.
All right, if you can keep me updated on that, I would appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Thank you,
All right.
Dr. Wells.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Moving on to 8.01.
Good evening. Exciting news tonight as the construction is moving forward. We've moved some equipment on. I'm going to let Mr. Rokes follow up on that, as he was on site the last day or two as the trailers moved on, and then he's also the master of a couple of these maps, and explain that. Yeah, so I sent out actually a text to a few of the staff members late this afternoon, and as we approach the holiday season, I called it, it's starting to look a lot like construction. We do have, as Dr. Hode mentioned, Jamerson Lewis moved that trailer in this afternoon. Virginia Site Works will be conducting the excavation of the grounds and building doing all the excavating and things like that for the new parking as well as the new building. They've moved some of their equipment on site this week as well. So it is coming to fruition now. And over the last several weeks, in conjunction with staff here at the admin office, myself, and high school staff, Mr. Joey Crawford and his staff, we came up with what we thought was a viable solution to help address the traffic flow and issues during the construction phase. So basically what we have now, we have the juniors in car riders coming down Macadam Road, which is right next to Briar Patch. They enter through the mornings and afternoon through here, and as the juniors go through the lot, they follow the yellow dotted line. As the juniors go through the lot, they park in the junior parking lot. We have designated parking for the juniors, parking for the construction staff, as well as parking for any high school staff that may still be parking back in that area. So this is the morning traffic here. Do you have the whole thing or just? Okay, so that's fine. This is the senior parking. Really the only difference in the senior parking, their traffic flow, is they're seeing the top part of the screen, the red line up there. The seniors normally go through the second gate. We have closed that gate off now and bring the seniors into the first parking area, the first gate, and they progress through there. This is the parking area that I was talking about, the staff parking, the 26 spots across the top. The next row of parking is for the construction parking. And then you see a large area there for the juniors parking. As we know, as the year progresses and our students population, more of them are eligible to drive, that'll start filling up some more. And then in the bottom part of the parking lot, in the afternoons, this is where the parents who are picking up the car riders will wait, and the actual car riders walk down to them. So what that does is, as normal, all the traffic goes out Lancer Lane anyway. And as you see right here in this slide, as the students come in the mornings, they bring their little smiling little faces up the ramp from the concession stand, or go across and enter into the VOTEC wing, the CTE wing down there, and that's where the students have been there. We have had additional staff out the last couple of days, and actually the process has gone really well, getting students into school as well as getting the students out of school in the afternoons. As far as dismissal traffic, again, the car riders come in, they park in the bottom part of the parking lot. The car riders walk out of the school with all the students, even the juniors, and they go down and meet the parents or caretakers who will be picking them up in the bottom part of the junior lot. And all cars exit out through Lancer Lane. This is really the normal process anyway, and so all traffic goes out of there. Yesterday, we had everybody out of the school, all the students out of the school by 3:06. Today, we're out of the school by 3:02 in the afternoon. So the process is going really well. One area is going to have impact, the winter sports, if you will. As you can see, we're going to basically lose all the rear entrances off the high school back there due to the construction. We have gated off that lot now since equipment is in there. It's considered a construction site. So basketball games, any activities that occur in the gym, all the buses and fans will enter through the front part of the school, through the main entrance of the school, and walk through the school, take a left in the auxiliary gym, and then proceed on to the new gym for any of those activities in there as well. This is where the construction trailers are. The rear trailer is actually the location of Jamerson Lewis's construction trailer that was installed today. And Moore, who's doing all the HVAC, mechanical, and electrical plumbing, their trailer will be right behind theirs. We'll have some Connex boxes and those type of things in it as well. So that's about it. And like I said, it's becoming a reality. They're going to start, Virginia Site Works is going to start putting in the erosion fence control probably this week sometime. Waiting for information when the lumber company will come in and start cutting the lumber off where the new parking lot is so they can start building a retention pond. And so again, we're fortunate that it's finally become a reality after, 27, 28 months now that we've been talking about this project. It's finally become a reality. So we're grateful for your support and grateful for the support of the Board of Supervisors to help to provide the funding to make this project a reality.
And last thing is, I know Mr. Rooks mentioned this, but the last 2 days, I think because of the maps and getting this word out, it was actually quite seamless. I mean, there were a few little things that we tweaked this morning that we did differently the first morning, but really it was much better than expected. And thanks to VDOT for helping us. They fixed up Macadam a little bit so that we could do that traffic through there. So that was a big help.
And also putting the road signage out made, I think, help too. Local law enforcement's out there. If you came by the high school yesterday or today, you saw the blue lights flashing, just slowing people down, making them remember, hey, yeah, I'm supposed to turn right here. So I just want to thank Dr. Hoden and Mr. Oakes and Mr. Crawford and everybody else to work. And I know they were kind of cold this morning. It was 20 degrees out there this morning. So it went from 80 to 20 really quick. So I just thank them for all the work they've done to get us ready for this. And again, next week, hopefully we'll have a hole in the ground out there somewhere. So thank y'all.
Mr. Terry?
Yes, ma'am.
Quick question. I was noticing on the diagram where it was the red X's on the rear exits. Does that impact our ability for emergency exits in a crisis, and how have we handled that?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, probably 2 weeks ago, I guess it was now, I actually met with Brad Bream, my Director of Public Safety, and also the Fire Marshal for Amherst County, and we walked the entire area and walked most of the project. But you are correct. We're losing 7 entrances off the back, which is basically all the entrances back there. So the biggest areas of concern are, for instance, the cafeteria, where we have roughly about 400 students there. And what we've came up with, and the Fire Marshal has approved the plan, those students, instead of exiting out of the rear part of the building, will be going up and exiting out through the sped hallway and into a courtyard that's open all the way out. It's not a closed-in courtyard. And then in the gym area over there, we are looking at a couple of things there. There are two double sets of doors into that same courtyard, and they will be exiting out of that and going out to the rear part of the building. If you see that gap in the structures, right there is like the shaded area in the middle, right, that area right there where the cursor is, that's what I'm talking about, that courtyard. That courtyard is out all the way to the wood line over there. And so they'll be exiting out of those doors as well. And one of the things we have looked at, we may have to do too, is actually reduce the occupancy load in the gym. Right now, the occupancy load is 919. And since we're losing a number of the doors out that, we might have to reduce that load also almost in half, which for the most part, I think we're okay. But that is a possibility as well. But we are addressing those issues. The contractor's aware of it too, and we're redoing the fire maps, we conducting drills in the school for those to address those issues as well.
And in addition, when winter sports begin, all the traffic will park out front, and they will enter through the main entrance and go in the gym that way.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else on the board? Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes. All right, 8.02, student suspension report for October for your view. Any questions?
Board? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Finance.
So next we have finance, Ms. Lakonich.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the school board. Before you tonight are your October 2023 financial reports. It's going to sound really similar to the report last month. When you look at the revenue and expenditures reports, there's really no real concerns. Our enrollment is still higher than projected. Our sales tax, if you're looking at it compared to what it was last year, it is down the same time from last year. However, when you look at the overall annual budget for sales tax, it's down from what last year's amended budget was. So at this point, we'll still, as always, we'll still monitor it, but it's not a real concern for us right now. It seems to be trending in the right direction, and October definitely looked better than September. So I think we are in a good place currently. At the last board meeting, we did talk about the new calc tool, and that did come out, and we got a chance to look at it. When you first look at it, it is higher than the skinny budget, which is definitely a positive. One of the things you do have to look at if you don't dive into the numbers is that new calc tool has the all-in Virginia funding. So, and that's outside of what our budget was. So we wanted to remove that, and then we can have a true comparison to what our budget is with the board's approved budget. And it is within $70,000. So the board's budget did call for a 7% pay raise to the contracted staff. And because we were operating under that the skinny budget, we had only implemented the 5%. The amended budget does call for an additional 2% increase to your staff. And with that funding and us being so close to what the governor's proposed, which is what the board did adopt, we are now in the financial position that we can implement that additional 2% effective January 2024 for our operationally budgeted contracted staff. Do y'all have any questions on this or any of the reports?
Board? It's great news. Thank you.
All right, I have another item, and it is the update on the ESSER 3 funds. We had done that a couple months back, but we are required to update you on the ESSER 3. When we do this, we just include all of our ESSER funds. And as you can see, we have spent down 100% on the majority of them. We really have just the 3 remaining. We have the homeless funds, McKinney-Vento ARP homeless funds, and then we have the large part, the ESSER 3 funds. We have spent 28.24%. So we have about $5.2 million that we have to spend by that September 30th, 2024, which seems like a lot of money, but 87% of that's going to the high school renovation construction project. And then the last one that we have is the HVAC funds, the $804,066. That too is going to that renovation project. So we are in good shape with that. We just wanted to present that tonight. Do you have any questions?
Okay. Board?
I had one quick question. Going over the budget with everything, are we gonna be comfortable with like diesel prices going up and food prices? There's enough money left over?
Yeah, the board, we had adjusted our budget for increased fuel. And right now, even though it's been going up and down, we've been monitoring it, and we are in a good place with that. I haven't had to talk about that or electricity so far, so.
Okay, good. I get nervous over those. All right, thank you.
I as well, thank you.
Ms. Justice? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, actually going back to the previous slide. So if I understand correctly, with the new budget and because of our conservative skinny budget, the difference where all our staff are receiving the 7% increase, is that correct? Did I understand that?
We had the 5% already.
Right.
And then we have the additional 2%. And I did state the operationally funded, because I don't want to speak for the child nutrition budget, because that they did receive substantially more. And we really have to look at that. They're completely separately funded. So this is the staff that's in our operational budget.
And so the budget we received from the state specifically stated on January 1st. So they're only funding it from January 1st to the rest of the year. So we can't go back and retroactively pay, because we're not getting funding to go back to the extra 2% back to July 1. It only goes from January 1 to the end of the school year. So it's 2% increase effective January 1st.
Which combined with the previous 5%
Puts
brings
us at
everyone to the 7%.
Yes, ma'am.
7.
Great, thank you.
Anything else, Board? Okay, moving on. Where did that put us, 10?
Next we have instruction, Dr. Norman.
Thank you. Mr. Chair and members of the board, the first thing I'd like to just draw your attention to is you have in your packet the new actual updated framework from VDOE for the Office of School Quality. It is how they are now structuring how they're going to support schools through the accountability process. So this just came out, so this is just for your information. We'll come back to this later on in the school year when they start talking about the differences between accreditation and accountability and what we'll have to do for the state in regards to showing accountability measures. The next thing I'd like to have is Ms. Smith. Thank you very much. I've asked Ms. Smith to come and provide you regularly. We do a standards update for you. This year, our math and science standards are changing, and I've asked Ms. Smith to provide for you an update on how that will be implemented in Amherst County Public Schools. Ms. Smith?
Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to do a summary first of what we're doing for math. This is just a history lesson almost in Code of Virginia, in that all the standards are updated every 7 years. Our last update for math was in 2016, so they were reviewed and updated, all revised last year. I got to help with some of that at the VDOE with the beginning parts of that process. Where we stand now in the timeline, as you see, June 2023, the Board of Education did the first review. And then in July and August, public hearings were opened. We actually posted those on our website so that parents could attend in person or take part in the virtual sessions. After the feedback was given back from those meetings, edits were made. It was presented again this summer, and in September, August, around that time, they were reviewing it, and finally in September, early September, the standards were approved. Right now, they're looking for full implementation of the math standards beginning with the 24-25 school year, the 2023 mathematics standards of learning. The VDOE has been very hard at work in prepping for this. What you see here is a scaled presentation for all the content levels from kindergarten all the way up to Algebra 2. Well, actually, with the new data piece, with the new math content areas, you see data science, discrete mathematics. Those are new additions that were created with the revisions and the updates. They've done presentations that not only give teachers the new standards of learning, but they also break down how it compares from the previous standards, 2016 to 2023. They did presentations with voiceovers so that you can actually follow along with somebody explaining the changes and why the revisions are made and what type of implementation is expected at the teacher level. And they did that for each grade level. So that was shared out with math leads already so that teachers can start diving in and seeing what the expectation is. They also had many materials as well. The overview of the revisions is the top one that you see there. The one in the bottom left-hand corner is the prioritization, the ones they really want us to pay attention to, the standards themselves in the middle, and also to the right, the options that they're given to us for implementation and crosswalk. Well, there we go. So, when it comes to the crosswalk, they gave us some options for transitioning into the new standards. The first option is doing a full crosswalk year where we teach both standards, the 2016 as well as the 2023. The second option is a crosswalk of partial content, where we would prioritize that content that really we need to make sure that students do not lose the connectedness and the prerequisite concepts that build on others that they may not get from one grade level because of the movement of how the SOLs are being taught with the new adopted 2023 standards. And then the third option would be not to do anything with the 2023 standards and just solely stay with the 2016 standards. With any of these options, the spring result is the same. The students will be tested in the spring on the 2016 math standards. So, what are we going to do here in Amherst County? We're going to do the middle option, and I'm going to explain to you why. With the example that you see here, it talks about the critical instructional transition, and this is an example from second grade. In the first column, you see the 2016 standard as it is right now in third grade. 3.9C teaches about the number of minutes in an hour and the number of hours in a day. 3.13 talks about congruent figures. Next, in the 2023 new standards, that will now be moved to second grade. So that means a student right now sitting in second grade, when they go to third grade, they will not have that content at all because they would have missed the opportunity. That is why we want to make sure that we're teaching not only the 2016 standards, but standards such as this to the second grade students now, so that when they go to third grade, they will not have missed this, and it builds on concepts they will get in fourth and fifth grade. They have examples like this in every single grade level. It's not an overwhelming amount, but they're very specific and very needed in order for a student to feel successful in their next progressive concepts that they're going to get in the next grade level. So that is why we're going to focus on, and I'm just going to go back to the option 2, partial crosswalk year. We're going to prioritize those types of concepts that are going to be missed if students do not get them as we transition them to the new standards. Our transition plan is October 2nd. The VDOE released all the individual grade level presentations. On the 23rd, I sent that out to math leads so they could start reviewing and sharing with their colleagues. I actually collected some preferences from the teachers as far as which transition they wanted to do, and I did make sure that we were making them a part of the process. Beginning November 27th, that is when we're going to start prioritizing, looking at the content from the transitioning to the 2023 and making sure that we're including that in our pacing. And by the second semester, we're going to start pulling teams together because really all of our resources right now are going to need to be reorganized. There's new naming conventions that they're using for the SOLs, and because of the movement, we want to make sure that our resources are put in the right places, particularly for new teachers that are going to be coming into the division or ones that just came this year who may not be familiar with how that crosswalk information is going to work. Any questions about math before I move on to science? Okay.
Just a comment, it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Okay. We're going to proceed with caution.
Yeah, and if I can add, this is the standard way that we normally embed standards, move from one, transitioning from old standards to the new. We always do a crosswalk. This is the first time I believe the state has actually given us options on what to do.
That is true. Science pathways. Earlier this year, I want to say August, we sent a memo out to parents, and we did share it with the board as well, about the changes that we were making in the science pathways. This is what our previous science pathway existed as. In 5th grade, students had grade 5 science. 6th grade, they went to life science. 7th grade, they had physical science. In those 2 grade levels, the teachers were expected to cover 3 years of content in a 2-year period. So grade 6 SOL concepts were embedded in life science as well as physical science, and they were tested in physical science. And then in 8th grade, students took earth science for high school credit. We have created a new pathway, hopefully to create better outcomes for science. We know as a division we are struggling with science, and it's hard to expect a student to be able to really grasp and retain science concepts if we're condensing it in such a small time frame. A lot of surrounding divisions are following suit along with this, and we think it's the best choice for students. With this year, 2023-24, we began teaching grade 6 science in 6th grade. Grade 7th has physical science still, and they will be tested this year. But in 8th grade, we introduce environmental science. They can still get the high school credit while they are in environmental science, but it's actually going to strengthen up their understanding of the science concept before they start taking biology as a 9th grader. The transition moves forward in 24-25. Grade 6 science remains in all throughout this process, but in 7th grade, it moves. 7th grade will now take life science, and then 8th grade, environmental science again. But the final outcome that we want to see is what you see in the column for 25-26. General science in 6th grade, life science in 7th grade, and physical science in 8th grade. That way you will have 3 years of actually going through the content before you are tested on it at the spring of 2026. When it comes to high school, that means that every student will start off with biology as a 9th grade student, and then they can start their choice of pathways of what they want to take as a 10th, 11th, or 12th grader. Any combinations of these in the order, as long as the prerequisite course has been made, the students will be able to participate in it. You notice that with earth science, it says in 24-25, that will be through virtual Virginia until in-person availability. Right now, all the teachers in Amherst County that are endorsed to teach earth science are sitting at middle schools. We had conversations with them that they need to really be reflective about if they want to remain at the middle school or are they willing to move to the high school. And also with teachers who do not have the endorsement yet, they might be considering working on the endorsement so that they could go to the high school and teach the earth science. So that conversation has been had with teachers, and many of them are just being reflective about it now. A lot of them are teaching environmental science or physical science and are really enjoying it. It's given them a breath or like a revisit on concepts that they really hadn't dived into for a while, so they're enjoying that refreshing. But I think they're still, I'm actually going to do a pulse check with them before the end of the school year, before the end of this year, to make sure they're still thinking about what their goals might be for next year and the year after in regards to where they want to teach and if they want to go back to earth science. I'm also working with Mrs. Miller-Good about these pathways because we want to make sure we're not reducing or limiting any opportunities, making sure everybody's getting the science requirements in prior to graduation, and that they feel good about the sciences that they're taking prior to applying to programs such as the STEM Academy, Governor's School, and what options and supports we might be able to give to make sure that they feel prepared when they start those programs.
Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Smith, environmental science, when you reach 25, 26 and you've made the switch, will students no longer take environmental science?
It can be given as an option at the high school, but that will require a change to the program of studies. I believe, we have environmental science at the high school now, but I don't think do we have an honors one?
At this point,
Yeah.
the only honors that we give through environmental science is through Virtual Virginia. We will put environmental science as an honors class and a regular class at the high school.
So they still allow that to be counted as either physical or biological credit?
Not for.
No, they do not. It would be treated as an elective, I believe.
It can count. For the Virginia Department of Education for environmental science, it could count as an earth science or biology, depending on the student's individual.
Well, that was my understanding, so I was wondering if we had eliminated that. I didn't see it on the chart.
Mean this one?
Right,
No, it can be added on the chart.
okay,
It was just, yeah, that's an oversight on my part.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
4.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I asked Dr. Norman to introduce this part of her section this evening. While Mr. Maddox will be familiar to you, I wasn't aware that the board had interacted with Ms. Tracy Miller-Good, who joined us from across the river. And as you just saw a moment ago, we are very glad that she did. She has those answers for us at a moment's notice. Ms. Miller-Good has been a wonderful addition to the team, and as of late, has been doing quite a lot of work with Mr. Maddox on the program of studies, and they brought that to you this evening for review, specifically some of the changes that are being recommended for that document. What Ms. Miller-Good wanted to also do this evening is provide a refresher for the board on our programs and how our students progress through to completion. So those diplomas that they're getting, what that looks like for them and their families. So I will turn it over to the team behind me.
Good evening. So we will present the program of studies as well as updates to the program of studies. So can we go to the next slide? Do I have, okay, Mr. Maddox?
Can't hear her.
Okay, you're,
Mrs. Good.
you want to go to it? Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay. I'm going to go to the next one. So for the program of studies, it serves as a comprehensive guide for our students and families, not only for the different diploma options that are available, but to assist students with selecting courses that will not only satisfy their graduation requirements, but also prepare them for their post-secondary plans. If they're interested in going to college immediately after high school, if they plan on going to a technical school, if they're interested in the world of work. So for this, we wanted to provide additional information where students can receive information on their diplomas, course descriptions of classes, as well as the requirements for programs such as STEM Academy, Early College, as well as the CTE Academy and other programs that we offer. So for the different diplomas, there are 2 diploma types, and these are through the Virginia Department of Education. So whether students are studying in Amherst County or if students are in Northern Virginia, all of these graduation requirements are the same. It's just regarding the courses that are available within that division. So for the standard diploma, this is the standard diploma that students can receive. You see that those are the requirements that are noted on the screen. In the program of studies, it has specifically how these courses can be, or these requirements can be met. For example, for the science, as Ms. Smith had mentioned before, for the standard diploma, it requires 3 credits. But within those 3 credits, students have to have 2 different science disciplines. So that's the reason why it's very important for us to have options for students at the high school. For the 2 different science options, it could be earth science, biology, chemistry, physics, but they would have to have the 2 different science disciplines. For history, social studies, they could have a world history 1, world geography, whichever we offer or whichever the students take advantage of. 11th grade, they would have American history, and then 12th grade, they would have government. One of the biggest difference between the standard diploma and the advanced studies, which we will get to in a moment, is that the standard diploma does not require a student to have a world language. But if a student does complete a world language, it will satisfy one of the world language, cultural arts, or the career and technical education course. These are required by the Virginia Department of Education. One of the other requirements for this is that students must have a sequential elective, and this is for both the standard and the advanced studies diploma. There are many different ways that students can earn this sequential elective, and that's the reason it's important for the student to work with their school counselor on making sure that they are meeting the graduation requirements.
Also, the school counselors are going to take the initiative to empower the students and to teach them so that they too are aware of the courses that they need in order to meet their graduation requirements. So there's going to be some incorporation of students with their graduation requirements in classroom guidance for students to be aware of what they need to take. For the Advanced Studies Diploma, this requires additional courses, and the biggest difference is that this actually requires a world language. Students have to have 3 years of one language or 2 years of 2 different languages. You'll see that this also requires a sequential elective. One of the things I want to point out is that the sequential elective cannot be used if the courses are used to satisfy a graduation requirement. For example, if students are working on the Advanced Studies Diploma and they have 3 years of one language, such as Spanish 1, 2, and 3, Spanish 1 and 2 is not sequential, but if they were doing the standard diploma, it would satisfy that graduation requirement. So once again, with these, they could be unique to specific students, to their graduation requirements in their post-secondary plans, so they will work with their school counselor in order to ensure that they are meeting their goals. For the Advanced Studies Diploma, it does not require that students take all advanced level classes. I know that this is something that I have gotten throughout my career, but students do not have to take all advanced level classes. They can take those classes to challenge themselves, to have additional rigor in the subject areas that they are most comfortable with, but they do not have to take all AP, all dual enrollment, or all honors classes in order to meet the requirements for the Advanced Studies Diploma. Now, with that being said, all students have to complete at least an honors level class, an advanced placement class, dual enrollment, or pass a career and technical education credential. For the career and technical education credential, most students get that by taking the WISE assessment when they have completed the economics and personal finance course, which is also a graduation requirement. As far as the CTE credential, there are other industry credentials that students can earn with the career and technical education programs that they complete. This is another requirement through the Virginia Department of Education. All students have to complete a virtual course, whether it's credit or non-credit bearing. So within the economics and personal finance course, it has an online component which is called Everfi. So as long as students complete that, then they have met that virtual course component. In addition to graduation requirements, students also have to complete certain SOL requirements. We also added this information in the program of studies as to which courses have an end of course SOL. So you'll see that for English writing, English reading, these are required English SOLs that students take in their English 11 class. You also have one math, one science, and one history social studies. So for the science, it is required that students take the biology SOL. For the math, some students are taking Algebra 1 at the middle school. If they pass Algebra 1 and pass the SOL, that would count towards their graduation requirements. However, there is a requirement that students must take a math SOL at the high school as well. All right, Mr. Maddox will talk about the changes that have been implemented.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Miller Good. There we go. Good, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so on that previous slide, I think I heard that they can take Algebra 1 at the middle school, and as long as they pass the SOL and the class, they're not required to take it at the high school. However, they have to pass the SOL at the high school. Another one.
So if they take it at the middle school, so if they're in Algebra 1, they pass Algebra 1, and they pass the SOL. Since that is a high school math credit, that will count towards their graduation requirement. However, all students, as part of the ESSA, I think it's Every Student Success Act, is that all students have to take a math SOL at the high school.
So they just take the test twice? One, no?
No, so for example, if they take Algebra 1 in 8th grade, they would do geometry in 9th grade. And so they would take the geometry SOL at the high school. So they're not repeating the math class unless they expunge it or have it omitted from their transcript in their 8th grade year.
So essentially, if they're taking algebra as an 8th grader, they're choosing to take geometry SOL in high school. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else, board? Okay.
Okay, so when you look at the program of studies, I'm getting too quick here. So these are things that was added to the program of studies. Descriptions for the following class levels: standard, honors, advanced placement, and dual enrollment. We also added more comprehensive information on the requirements for the standards and the advanced studies diploma options. We had a section on diploma seals, added a section explaining the verified credits, added advanced placement and dual enrollment classes on the AP and dual enrollment sections, and also added a section on the Virginia High School League athletic participation and NCAA eligibility. We also added more detail to specialty and outside programs like the AP Capstone, Gov School, Early College, STEM Academy, and the CTE Academy. We added Virtual Virginia and AP symbols to the Key of Symbols sections, and we added the course numbers. Also, we added the AP statement to all the AP courses that this course follows a program of study that has been reviewed and approved by the College Board of Advanced Placement Programs. So some of the changes with CTE, okay? So we changed advanced marketing. It's gonna be strategic marketing. That was a video E change. It's basically gonna take the advanced marketing, and students will be able to use different strategies for certain businesses. So it's gonna kinda narrow the focus down for some of the marketing strategies. Addition of the following CTE courses, removal of our Intro to Cosmetology to implement Cosmetology 3. Remember, for our students to be certified and able to take the cosmetology exam, we have to have a 3-year program to make sure we get enough hours so our students can sit for the exam. The Intro to Cosmetology course was something we did for students, our seniors, that did not get into the cosmetology course because we had to start with sophomores, and that was something to give them a leg up on, what they were gonna have to do when they graduate, when they go to, go off to cosmetology school. So we're phasing that out so that we can add to Cosmetology 3. Early Childhood Education 2, we're adding that to our program. We have Early Childhood Education 1 this year, so that will be the advanced program for that career pathway. Students coming out of that program will either be able to go out and get a job, or they'll be able to go do post-secondary education, such as the early childhood program at CVCC. And then we want to do the Intro to Hospitality, Tourism, and Recreation. This is a new program. It's a new course. We're in the process. Every CTE course has to be approved by VDOE. So right now, we're in the process of getting that approval. Part of that is surveying students. We have already surveyed our students at middle school and high school and had 407 responses. It's been about 70% of the students said they would like to take the class or may be interested. So that's a good sign because that's part of that application process.
And just want to talk about the timeline briefly, is that for that, within the next 2 weeks, the program of studies will go to the printer, and there will be meetings with the middle and high school counselors to provide updates. Now, it's with the middle and high school counselors at this time because we will be going into the 8th grade classrooms to be talking with students, and then the school counselors will be scheduling those students, and then as well as at the high school to talk with students and then to do that scheduling. Elementary school counselors will also be informed of the program of studies as well as these changes when we have our division school counselor meeting in November. So they also will be aware of the different opportunities that are available to students. We will have limited paper copies, so for students who would like, or families who would like a copy of the program of studies. Other than that, it will be available, an electronic copy will be available on the website. And it will be shared electronically with students and their families. The projected date to start is that we would like to start in late November, December. That's to give enough time for the counselors to schedule the times with the teachers at the high school. A tentative plan has already been created, so we just have to wait for feedback from the teachers just to see when the school counselors can go in and meet with the students and start the process. The projected completion of students' course selections is slated for early February, and just based on some of the future forecasting with weather permitting, that we will be able to complete course selections by that time. Any questions?
Board, any questions? Yes, Ms. Justice.
Yes, I think this applies. Mrs. Milligood, the Central Virginia Governor's School, do you have a feel yet as far as what the interest is among our students?
So I just talked with Ms. Clark at the high school this week, and not at this time. They're still going into classrooms, and then the representatives from the Governor's School will present to students in January.
Thank you.
Anything else on the board? Yes, ma'am.
I have a quick question. One, just clarify, for cosmetology, you took away intro to Cosmo, but we still have 1, 2, 3. I
Yes,
thought that way. I just
Yes,
sort of
ma'am.
didn't hear it totally. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
Anything else, board? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And one of the reasons the program of study is coming to you so soon is to get that process in place so that you have a really good sense of personnel that's needed at the high school and the middle schools when you go into budget season and into January, first part of February.
Okay. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Norman and your staff, when it's available and up on the link, on the website, can y'all send us an email and let us know? Because I may forget to go check it, but I'd like to look at it.
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds like some great changes. Thank you.
Okay. The next item on the agenda, 10.03, Building Bridges to Success Showcase. I came to Dr. Wells last week, I believe, or the beginning of this week. No, last week. And we have had such a great start to All in Virginia Building Bridges to Success program in Amherst. Everybody has been all in. Our students, our families, my team here at the school board office, our teachers, our IAs, custodians, our classified staff, you name it. People have really just done what we've asked them to do and have done so in a good-hearted spirit of knowing that what we're doing is good for kids. So I requested that we highlight and showcase each of our schools for the next several months regarding what they're doing during this time of our 45-minute block for Building Bridges to Success. And Mr. Hutchinson drew the short straw, and he got the first time. So I'd like to introduce Ms. Wheeler, who oversees, she's supervising and overseeing the All in Virginia program, Building Bridges to Success for Amherst County, and then turn it over to Mr. Hutchinson to say what Madison Heights is doing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Thank you for giving us a little bit of time to come back to you this evening and talk about our Building Bridges to Success program. So just very quickly before I turn it over to Mr. Hutchinson to brag about Madison Heights a little bit, we have just completed our first full week of our Bridge program, where our students kicked off our session by researching bridges and developing a plan to build a bridge, as well as constructing that bridge to see exactly how much weight it would hold. During our week, our students used over 88,000 popsicle sticks, 39,000 rubber bands, and 22,000 clothespins, among a lot of other items that you can see there, and some not on the list that were not included in the lesson plan, but nonetheless, they had fun creating those bridges and testing them. Since we have started our program, our students have logged about 6 hours of hands-on lessons, learning and applying skills in real-life situations, reading and researching, doing practical problems in math, and I think are having a lot of fun doing so. Before I turn it over to Mr. Hutchinson, I want to just show you a brief 1-minute video of some of the highlights from across the division from this past week. You can just imagine some very quiet, relaxing music being played as we're watching the pictures. As you can see from the different bridges there, our bridges held various weights, anywhere from 12 cans of Play-Doh to 10 library books, and cans of soup, so a lot of fun there. But I want to turn it over to Mr. Hutchinson to let him talk about the fun that his building was able to have this past week.
Thank you so much. I was only given 5 minutes, so I'm going to get through this rather quickly. Mr. Chair, members of the board, thank you so much for allowing me to come speak to you tonight about our experience with the Building Bridges to Success program. Before we start looking at some of the pictures from Madison Heights, I want to thank Dr. Norman and her entire team just for all of the work that they have put in to making this kickoff a success. No joke, 88,000 popsicle sticks and 39,000 rubber bands. Thank you for that, by the way. We appreciate that. And but from an administrator point of view, we really do appreciate it. We were given the groups and everything that we needed to go right from the very beginning, and it was a lot of work on her and the team here. So we're just looking at some highlights from Madison Heights specifically. As you can see on your screen, our bridge program has truly been an all hands on deck. In addition to our teachers, our student support service, such as Title, our EL teachers, our SPED department, have all been instrumental in providing the opportunity for our students. In this picture you see here, our school nutrition staff who are working with our math lead and our science lead to help prepare the extend lessons and the materials for the Friday STEAM lessons. And so they are all working to provide those opportunities for our students. So how is Madison Heights using the bridge time? So we're focused on the core content areas of math, reading, and science, which also fall into our continuing school improvement plan. The Bridges program provides our K-5 students opportunities to participate in science investigation and really allows them to enhance those foundational skills. It allows students exposure to concepts they may not otherwise have access to. I was subbing for, or I was filling in on one of the bridge. We had a teacher absent, so I stepped in to do one of the lessons. And so we had this great conversation with students about what kind of effort it does actually take for someone to build a bridge. Like, how much math and how much thought it goes into it. You know, we take those things for granted. So this past week, the learning opportunity really provided the chance for our students to expand their thinking on how bridges are constructed and tested for safety. Our students also understand that this program is there to help scaffold and accelerate their learning, and to fill in any of the gaps that they may have. And we really appreciate the opportunity to use those hands-on lessons and those materials, such as IXL, both reading and math, to reinforce those targeted skills for them individually. You can see all of the pictures through here. This was a kind of a collage of beginning all the way through Friday. So down in the bottom corner, you'll see we have, like we said earlier, the student support staff. Their picture there is our school counselor and our PE teacher. We have a SPED teacher there, and then some classroom teachers in and out. In the middle pictures there. But the quote from the student, it was fun. We had to spend time thinking about the design that could actually hold the most. They actually really became very competitive with each other about how many popsicle sticks they could, band together and really create it. So on Friday, we had 19 groups that were able to construct a total of 72 bridges. The winning bridge, or some of the winning bridges, held Chromebooks, 6 Chromebooks, 39 dominoes, 48 bear counters, and 7 decks of game cards. It's been really exciting to see the level of engagement with our entire school community, because all of us are invested. So everybody is having this conversation with them. Our custodians are asking them about, they were having a conversation about how they could arrange the popsicle sticks in a certain during lunch. And so it's really quite exciting to see. And of course, our school nutrition in there are building excitement for students as they go through the serving line. I think I may have finished before 5 minutes. Congratulations. Yeah, do you like that? Thank you so much. I'll be happy to answer, or Ms. Wheeler, any questions that you may have.
Board, is any questions? Yes.
One quick
Ms. Burke.
question. How long did the bridge have to be, or is there any?
So there were some constraints in place, and my head is wrapped around the ones from this week that we're moving into. But we had to take 2 bridges, or 2 desks, and put them 18 inches apart.
Okay.
And so now there was some slight interpretation between the teachers, right, about what that could look like. But everybody agreed, and they all worked, so 18 inches. And you can see in the picture there, the bottom right-hand corner, the boys with Miss Clark and Mr. Rankins there, they pulled the desks apart and measured it and, built it accordingly. But it had to, then they added the bear counters or those types of things. So it was fun.
That's cool.
Thank you.
Anything else, Board?
Yes,
Ms.
sir.
Justice, yeah.
If I understand correctly, the bridge endeavor, this is unique to Amherst. This isn't happening all over Virginia, correct?
Yes, ma'am. So what we have done is taken what the state superintendent provided us, that playbook that we talked about last month, and really tried to adapt the best practices to make them meet the needs of our students. And so we deemed the program Building Bridges to Success, and really felt like, in addition to that high dosage tutoring that the VDOE platforms, hopefully eventually, we're still waiting for those, will provide us, we wanted our kids to have hands-on opportunities to reinforce those skills too. So yes, ma'am, it's unique to us how we've built it.
Good job, Amherst. Innovative and ahead.
It is definitely all in for support.
Great. Anything else, Board? Thank you very much. Moving on, 11.0. Human Resources.
Mr. Gallagher, Human Resources.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, members of the board, good evening to you. I have only two small items for you this evening. The first one is this month's edition of the vacancy memo for your review. So that does ebb and flow a bit monthly. The slight additions, the elementary number actually is down to 2, as we have made a hire there at Central Elementary School. So that has gone down. Interview today, that was very successful and promising for the special education position at Amelon. We have interviews next week for the community outreach position. I believe we have 3 drivers currently in the hopper in training, so that's promising as well. Don't have a specific time frame. Hopefully that will pan out well for us. And again, as I said last month, we have 2 contracted custodial staff through Wall Services, one at Elin and one at the high school. So that has, we still have the vacancies, but we do have 2 of those filled through contracted services currently. And just in a way to try to help get these filled, we have created flyers to push out to our colleges and universities throughout the state, and using our contacts to push these out to students and hopefully promote Amherst County Public Schools to the December graduates for a lot of our teaching positions. We're in the process of developing the language for banners. We're going to create 3 banners to put on buses across the division that will also help promote some of our support staff positions to get that word out there, so it's not just our social media platform and our division website. But if you have any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
One quick question for the bus drivers. You said we had 3 in the hopper. Well,
In training, I'm sorry, in training is what I meant to say.
Well, is that going to be for part-time, full-time, a mix?
I believe those are full-time positions, Dr. Hoden, if I'm not incorrect.
All right, thank you.
Anything else, board? Thank you, Ms. Gallagher.
Oh, you're welcome. So the next is actually a memo that outlines a revision to regulations. It is pertaining to our professional staff and support staff leaves and absences. So currently, in a nutshell, this has to do with the amount of annual leave our contracted staff members can accrue. Ultimately, this doesn't change anything as far as payouts. We're all able to accrue double our annual, come up to our double our annual accrual rate for payout. So in other words, if I accrue 12 days over the course of a year, I can ultimately have that accrual up to 24 days for payout. But in any given year, if there are additional days beyond that, so if I annually accrue, for example, 12 days of annual leave, and I have available to me if I've accrued over time, say I end the year with 30 days, typically I would lose 6 of those because I can always bank and accrue and carry over to the next year double what my annual accrual rate is. And if you can't transfer any more over to the next year without losing them, that's been the policy, the regulation in the past. This outlines that those additional days beyond your limit of accrual will be turned into sick days. So that's a benefit, and that's consistent with other divisions within our region, not all of them, but most. And we feel like that's an appropriate benefit as there's numerous individuals, including myself, who typically lose annual leave days at the end of the year because they're beyond what I'm allowed to carry over to the following year. And so instead of going into sick, the current regulation indicates that they're just lost. So this is, we feel, an appropriate revision to our regulations in that area. Just wanted to bring that to your attention from informational purposes and for awareness. But I'm happy to take questions. I hope I explained it properly, but it is broken down for you along with the actual regulations as they currently stand with the highlighted language as to where this change comes into play for both of those regulations.
Board, any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I want to just say thank you. I think that's a great change.
Absolutely. I think it's a good change as well.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher.
Thank you.
Moving on. What,
All right,
12?
Next, we have information
12,
from our
yeah.
student representatives. So we have Lillian and John, so y'all, whoever wants to go first.
Good evening, Amherst County School Board.
I'm sorry I had to miss out on the last meeting. I was away on family vacation, but I'm glad to be back. I've been staying busy between show choir, welding, working, and senior activities. Both show choir groups have been hard at work, and we're making some great progress. The Amarecos have already finished learning all of their choreography for their shows this year, and we are now cleaning and perfecting our vocals and choreography. And the Bells have learned all their choreography except for their last song, which they will finish up this upcoming week. Both groups performed at the Apple Harvest Festival, and we did a great job, as well as fundraise with the snack table, which was lots of fun and gave us all an opportunity to volunteer. Both groups just feel like a big family, and I love being a part of them. And coming up next month, we have a winter concert at Amherst High School in the auditorium, and it's on Tuesday, December 5th. In welding, we're continuing to work on our shield metal arc welding, and I'm currently working on welding in the overhead position, and I'm about to start carbon arc cutting. And I've also been hard at work completing college applications, and I'm very, very thankful for our Lancer Center and Ms. Kiefer for everything that they do. They truly show that they care for every student and wants what's best for them. They make our next steps after high school problem-free, and I'm especially thankful for the college fair, college representatives coming to visit, and Ms. Kiefer making time for private student meetings to work on things that are specific to each student. We also recently had Virginia College Application Week, which held many opportunities to talk to college representatives, participate in on-site admissions, and to get help on college applications. We ended that week off with Future Friday, which was a day to wear college shirts or college colors, and it was meant to show school spirit and to push students to start thinking about their futures. And tonight, the Lancer Center hosted an FSAID and financial aid night, and they were helping seniors to get ahead on their FAFSA and learn how to make college way more affordable with financial aid professionals from local colleges. Now for a quick recap of what's gone on in our schools and our community recently. We had Unity Day, where students were asked to wear orange, and this was a reminder for our students that we need to remember kindness, acceptance, and inclusion. And as I mentioned earlier, Amherst County High School hosted the 52nd annual Apple Harvest Festival, and there were a lot of different vendors and entertainers from our community. Lots of students, teachers, and community members showed up to enjoy everything the festival had to offer, and it gave Amherst County members a chance to volunteer. And it also gave our school clubs and groups an opportunity to show their talents to our community. The Amherst County Fair was also going on this weekend, and that was a great way to bring our community together and put a little life into our community. It also gave great volunteer opportunities for our students. The Amherst Theater traveled to VTA recently and competed with the play Tartuffe, or The Imposter. Congratulations to them for getting top 12 in the whole state. They're performing actually probably right now or finishing up, and I hope they did well tonight. They will also compete at another theater competition this weekend, and I wish them lots of luck. Yesterday, we started the new traffic pattern at the high school since construction is starting. The new parking, drop-off, and pickup system went very well, and from what I saw and heard, parents and guardians and students followed directions pretty well. I personally feel this new traffic pattern was the best way to deal with the construction, and even after just one day, there was like a lot of improvement of how the traffic pattern went today. We're all very excited to see this project start to improve our high school and advance our programs. And more specifically, I'm excited for our arts and CTE programs to expand and improve. I'm personally very glad that our choir, theater, band, and welding programs are finally getting some space that we've needed. And I want to say a thank you to all Amherst County Public School administrators, counselors, and staff who do so much for us. It does not go unnoticed, and I'm very grateful for all that everyone does. Thank you for caring for us students and making school enjoyable. And thank you for letting me share tonight. I hope everybody has a great night.
Good evening. I hope you all are doing well. I just wanted to report on a few school activities that have been going on. So since the last time we met, we had our Powder Puff football game where the underclassmen and upperclassmen girls actually went against each other in a flag football game. Actually turned into a tackle football game a little bit throughout it. So that was pretty fun to see them get competitive like that, a sport that they're not used to playing. And myself and a few other my teammates actually had the opportunity to coach the upperclassmen team, so that was fun to be able to get out there. And those type of events and activities are just really important to help bring the kids in school together and just let us be able to have a good time. We also had our trunk or treat for the community up at the high school. Myself and a lot of other seniors actually volunteered and took our vehicles up there and helped give out candy to the kids. That was a really fun activity to do that evening. It was kids everywhere. They were lined up, up and down both sides of the parking lot. So we had a great turnout there. Definitely would do it again. It was a lot of fun just to be able to give back to the youth of our community, which I think is very important. Our fall sports are coming to an end. Volleyball and football have had their senior nights, and football is actually finishing up tomorrow night in Liberty Bedford. And winter sports will get ready to kick in. I know track will be starting next week, and many other sports will have already started conditioning. Last time I was here, we spoke about teachers being more outgoing and welcoming to the students in the building. And I would say from what I've been hearing, that has definitely been going on, and the teachers have definitely been making a difference in some of our students' days throughout the school day. So I just wanted to point out that the teachers have definitely been taking on that challenge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
The board, anything you want to? Okay. Dr. Wells, moving on to.
Yes, sir. My computer.
13.
Hang on 1 second. I had some notes to make sure I don't miss them. All right. So legislators visit, first of all, November 30th at Elin. We don't have quite an agenda yet, but it's going to be at Elin Elementary School, November 30th. And we'll give you more of a timeline and things like that once we talk to our, we're waiting for Tuesday to see who we need to invite because there's a lot of contested races. So we're just waiting to see who wins some of the House of Delegate and State Senate races. So once we get that, we'll invite everyone, and we'll have more information for that as it gets closer. Veterans Day is Saturday, November 11th. I just want to ask everyone to take a moment to recognize our veterans, remember our veterans, and also to just let you know that most of our schools are going to recognize Veterans Day November 10th. I know Amherst Middle School is doing their ceremony that morning, and I'm going up to Elin that afternoon and speak to their kids that afternoon for a little bit up there at Elin. And other schools are doing different things as well. So majority of our schools will be celebrating on the 10th, and then Veterans Day is on the 11th. So again, please take time to recognize our veterans. American Education Week is November 13th through the 17th. And as part of that, Mr. Gallagher and Human Resources will be providing staff with pens and some other goodies throughout, schools will be doing other things throughout the week in honor of American Education Week. I did get to attend the VAST conference Sunday night through Tuesday, and that was this past week in Richmond. And so when I was there, we had multiple speakers. We had Secretary of Education Gadara spoke, as well as State Superintendent Dr. Coons, and we had other speakers throughout. And it was a good chance to hear insight from the state, as well as other leaders across the division, other superintendents across the state. So it was a good opportunity for us to sit down and talk as superintendents and kind of get caught up on a few things. One thing that is coming, we feel is coming up fairly soon will be the state is looking to separate accountability from accreditation. So they're looking for accreditation to be focused on, do we have people hired into positions, SOQ type positions, are they licensed and so forth, and accountability, again, looking at student results and things of that nature on SOLs and other testing. So probably in the next, they're working on a committee now, but I think it'll be coming to us in the next year or two that they'll be separating those two out. And there's more to come on that. Nothing's in writing yet, but that's kind of what, talking with the state folks, that's kind of where they think we're probably going to hit, listening to the Board of Education and so forth there at the state. School Psychology Awareness Week is next week, and so we want to recognize all of our 3 school psychologists for all they do for our students and for our staff as well. We already hit Building Bridges to Success. We're now finishing week 2. As you heard from Mr. Hutchinson, I think we had a very good start to the program. I went out and observed some classes, and it was very positive. You know, students, you don't expect the 4th and 5th graders telling you about the 20 different kinds of bridges out there and what bridge they want to make and why they want to make this bridge and and they're naming bridges that you wouldn't, most people don't even know exist, cantilevers and all these types of bridges, and talking about that. So, I mean, that was at the elementary level. And so it was good for them to do the research and actually to try to put a bridge to build it. I think someone kind of realized that even though it sounded great when they researched it, trying to build one of those might be more difficult than what it looked like, especially with popsicle sticks and the supplies they had, rubber bands and things like that. But seeing them do those activities and then just hearing from staff, staff that sometimes aren't the most positive, were saying they really enjoyed doing these activities with their students and learning with their students. So I was very pleased with the input from staff and the students and talking about that with students. So it was just very good. I think it was a very good activity. And this week we're working on it as well. And what's tomorrow's? Wanda, what's tomorrow?
Weatherproof structures.
So tomorrow they have to make a weatherproof structure.
Sand and glue. Teachers love us right now.
Yeah. So if you want to go see some of that, sneak out, let us know, come out to a school. But we do, we know why we're doing it. We realize, looking at our students, what's best for them. And we know that, yes, we need to focus on the areas that we didn't hit quite as well on SOL testing wise, but we also need to really get them engaged in the hands-on instruction and hands-on learning. And this is all part of it, and the science aspect, you apply your reading and your math skills into the science aspects of it to make it all come together. So it's applied math, it's applied learning. It's not just here it is, read about it. They have to actually apply it and learn it. And that hands-on makes a big difference. So the tailgate, we had our tailgates. We've had 3. We had our last one this past Friday. Thanks to all you who could be there. Appreciate the support and appreciate all the work that my staff put into it, the preparation and during it and the cleanup after. I think we got the system down pretty good there at the end. I went back up after senior announcements at the football game to help clean up, and they already had it all packed up and gone. So I was like, well, okay. I just walked back down to the field. So we kind of got the system down, and now we'll do it again, hopefully do it again next year. But we had our community tailgate for the first home game, and then we had the 2 staff tailgates, and I think we had very good participation. I think people enjoyed it, and it's something we want to continue doing. VSBA convention, November 15th to the 17th. Again, let us know if you're able to go or not. I know some of you have already registered. If you're not able to go, let us know so we can cancel hotel rooms and just, again, get with Ms. McNerney on that if you would. And then one of the last things I have is conflict of interest training. You're all required by code to complete it. So I ask if you haven't completed it, complete it. And if you need access to the resources, Ms. McNerney can get you access to the resources. I believe 3 of you have completed it. And so we just need to make sure we complete that before, I think, January is the deadline. So make sure we get that done. Then it's not on my list and it's not on board docs, but on the agenda, but Randolph College, we recently entered an agreement with Randolph College where every student with a 2.5 GPA or higher who's passed Algebra 2 can get a direct admission into Randolph. They just have to apply, and they don't have to go through the big process. So looking at that, and if they do have issues in math, they have things they can do to help them out. If they have like a 3.5, but they had issues in a particular class, they'll work with them and kind of give them some remedial math on that. But so we just entered that agreement. So that'll be good for our students. They just, and open up those doors for students to see that, yes, I can get into these colleges and I can do that. So that's a plus. We want to thank them. And we'll be doing a press release. It hasn't gone out yet. It'll be going out. I want to talk to y'all first. But it'll be going out next week or maybe as early as tomorrow on that agreement with Randolph. So that's all I have, unless y'all have any questions.
Board, any questions for Dr. Wells? Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to move on to, we're going to do 14 and 15 at the same time. So if you have a committee report, you can give that at the same time. But Ms. Saunders, I'll let you kick it off again. Thank you.
I know, I was getting ready. Well, there's so many students to congratulate. I don't want to leave anyone out, so can I just make a broad, y'all are great. And congratulations to Ms. Lobb. My kids had her, she's great. The hands-on learning. So my son at ODU, who's an engineer student, actually did this, and he was so excited. So as a 19 and 20-year-old, and Wanda knows she had him, he was just ecstatic. I wish he could have done this when he was 9, but this is such a great, it's like Dr. Wells says, the applied, and you can see that it actually works. But the hands-on for so many kids is so important that that's how their sensory works, so they need that. So, and I love that everyone was engaged, even to the, cafeteria staff. That's great. And we are so lucky to have out-of-the-box thinkers and creative thinkers here at Amherst. So thank you, Dr. Norman and team. Good luck for our students on your applications. I know that that's stressful, so take your time and good luck. And that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Justice?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So at Governor's School, we didn't have a board meeting, but great opportunities abound at Governor's School. So the dual enrollment anatomy and physiology class had a guest speaker from Ortho, Virginia, Dr. Douglas Dickerson. And some of the things that really encouraged me were a collaborative presentation by the senior class on their mock grant proposal for scientific research in Antarctica. I hope someone picks that up and it goes to the next level. I think that sounds pretty exciting. The juniors are going to test their designs of egg protection containers and analyze the forces that impact using high-speed video in the annual physics egg drop project. As someone who eats a ton of eggs, I have a high investment into better egg protection. As we listen to Dr. Wells talking about the partnership with Randolph, I think of the University of Lynchburg partnership that the Central Governor's School has for dual enrollment. And I am blown away that here, Little Amherst, that people like to say is way out there, has multiple relationships with local higher education organizations. And the opportunity is there. If you are hungry for it, if you're thinking about it, it is there. Just go out and reach for it. Everyone's here to support you. Families, students, and community members, I just want to urge you right now to investigate the Gov School opportunity. Coming out of the pandemic, don't be intimidated. Please, if you have an interest, apply. Nothing risked, nothing gained. Theodore Roosevelt is credited as saying, in any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. And the worst thing you can do is nothing. So don't let fear stop you. Thanks to the Transportation Department for the county fair. My kids look forward to it every year, driving down Route 29, looking for those lights that appear out of nowhere in the field. It is truly like magic. And I know, Mr. Rokes, you and your team, if you weren't doing it, it wouldn't be happening because there's no way to get there. So thank you for what you did. Building Bridges to Success is another Amherst original. Engagement, innovation, and creativity, and everyone is all in, and this is representative of the Amherst culture. It has been for generations, and it's beautiful to see the teachers' hearts and the administration and the kids and the parents and the community diving into this. We hear about struggles with science, and yet here in Amherst, we have Ms. Law, who was one of 2 teachers for science. And again, we have a gem right here in Amherst. So, in final, at the beginning of this evening, we saw 12 students, and what stood out to me is optimistic, resilient, prepared, helpful, kindness, perseverance, overcoming, and humor. These are the characteristics which build success in life. Success in life is less defined by accomplishments, but more by the character revealed through the obstacles you overcome. And every month, I'm seeing students that are exemplifying what is going on in these schools, and they're not alone. So thank you for all you're doing here.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Berg?
Yes, I just wanted to recognize again all our students we recognized this evening, truly showing what Amherst is. And it's a great way to show up Amherst, come support your kids that are being recognized. I really like to show up Amherst. And also, congratulations to Manelson Middle School for their Music Honor Society. Congratulations to our forestry students for actually showing up at States and cleaning house. And also thank you to all our staff for putting everything together for our presentations this evening, and for our elementary and our middle school teachers and staff for putting together the All-in-One Virginia. I know they had to be under a lot of stress, and we appreciate everything everybody did for that and making it a success. And thank you to our student reps, and I hope you guys are going to be able to get some sleep after doing all those college applications. I know it's very stressful that time of year. And also, thank you to Mr. Porter. The words that he gives us, especially this evening, thank you so much. It really meant a lot to me. It's nice to actually hear people say nice things to the board and to the school. And also, if everybody could please keep the Orisi family in your thoughts and prayers, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Ligon?
Okay, well, kind of dittos for all of the congratulatory people. And as Dr. Wells had stated early on, it's a wonderful thing to see young people come out and be recognized. I think it gives them a little more encouragement to want to go to school when they know that people are really seeing what they're doing. So from forestry to singing, that's pretty good right there. You know, logs being rolling to opening your mouth singing, that's pretty good. So I was excited about that, and I was just taking notice to all the changes of math and science, which is, I said dangerous, because every time the state goes through these dramatic overnight changes, some school systems get caught in the system of the achievement and what the numbers look like, but I'm confident that we will overcome that by the option that you chose, option 2, I think. So we're always watching math and science. I look at it also in higher ed. That subject is all day long as to what is going on. So we appreciate everything. Of course, the comprehensive plan, great work done. That's our roadmap anyway. I read that. I was looking at all the targets that we have. And at the end of the day, it's all about student achievement. And all of those things in our comprehensive plan will get us where we need to be. So thank you, Dr. Wells, and your staff. We thank the staff anyway for all the good work. We're just here to read it and enjoy it, but a lot of things have been done. And to the reps, the Lancer people, good information. Thank you for updates. And it sounds like you're enjoying yourself in your senior year. Nothing like it, trust me, because when it's gone, it's gone. And yes, the tailgates, good hamburgers, good stuff going on. I missed the last one, but every other one was just wonderful. So you can't get much better than that. Someone that I brought with me from another area said, I've never seen superintendents work like yours is. And I said, don't try to take him either. Just don't get no ideas. You know, come have your hamburger and leave. But don't get no ideas. But it does not go unnoticed, not just the superintendent, but his entire staff are down there cooking and eating and having a good time. And in closing, I think we mentioned it, but we are concerned still in the comprehensive with mental health. I think Ms. Thompson and some others mentioned that. That's got to be on the forerunner. Can't be on the back burner anymore, because that itself is part of what controls the day-to-day living in the school system. So I see that as just number one. I'm watching that at all times. And also thank my thank Amherst County Public School System for being there for me during my loss. And it's nothing like good friends and family, and y'all are my family. So those of you who came to the services, who called me, who sent cards, it does not go unnoticed. And I hope I can do the same for you. That's where we are. If we don't have that among us, we really don't have anything. So that's it. And I don't have a report from Laurel, and I'm hoping to go to Williamsburg if the superintendent drives me down there.
I'll drive.
You know, I don't drive on these roads, you know. That's all, Ms. Terry. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ligon. Ms. Thompson?
Yes, thank you. I first want to start off and thank Mr. Porter for his kind words, your words of appreciation. I just hope that I can live up to those, but it was very nice to hear. Thank you. Also, I'd like to thank the staff and Dr. Wells for highlighting all the recognitions tonight. I could go through and repeat them, like Ms. Ligon says, just ditto, but it's just nice to be able to celebrate that. And I just want to say we have some stellar students and teachers, and recognizing them is a true joy. Thank you. And the bridge engagement that we see, that's been fun. I know the kids have enjoyed it, and it goes right along with our theme about engagement. And so I'm looking forward to the next one. I know it takes a lot of effort on everyone's part, but thank you so much. Lillian, I thank you for bringing up the Lancer Center. I was with someone going through the school the other day and just highlighting that. I think it was one of our legislators, and they just didn't know what it was. And so it was a joy to be able to share with them all the resources that are there. So thank you for highlighting that. I think that's, we're blessed to have that. And John, I'm saying thank you to all the teachers who took your challenge and are opening up and being more welcoming and providing that environment. And thank you for recognizing that. I want to thank all the teachers for all they do all the time. And I know that's an extra step to say, I've got this and this and this I got to do, but I'm going to get out there and I'm going to take time and do the important work with my students and communicate with them. So thank you. Appreciate that report. And then lastly, I want to say two things. I want to say that my heart goes out to our two board members that lost family members, and know that y'all are loved and appreciated, and that our hearts are with you. And I also want to thank all of the veterans who have served, and those that do serve today, serve our country, and they sacrifice so much. And I just want to say thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. So, kind of stole my thunder there. I was going to start that off with Veterans Day. So we do need to remember Veterans Day and your activities that you do this weekend. Thank a veteran for his service. They're why we get to do what we're doing right here tonight. It's a great thing, so thank you for everything. Lillian, just remember JMU. You know, just throw that out there. No, you guys are always giving us some good information. Love hearing what comes from the schools, seeing you out there doing things. I did get a chance to come up and participate in the tailgates, the Apple Harvest Festival, the fair, the Amherst Trunk or Treat. That's community engagement. All those things. You're bringing the community to the schools, or we're taking the schools out to the community. That's Show Up Amherst. That's what we've been trying to get out there for years, and it's awesome to see it. Trunk or Treat was very hot that day. It was pretty darn hot. The bridge program, you know, student outcomes. That's part of our that's part of our comprehensive plan. So that's showing kids how to do things outside of just the classroom. That, along with like our trout programs and our river programs and those things, getting them out there and getting their hands dirty, doing things that more than just showing them how to use a pencil and paper. More student support, you know, just going through putting the students first with a comprehensive plan. Student support more, talking about our students of the month, talking about our forestry programs, lifting them up when they do those great things, because they do have some awesome programs going on. Our middle school, Mrs. Lobb's recognition, it's, some great things going on. Good luck, guys, with the traffic pattern at the high school. I've seen traffic patterns change, and it always gets better as it goes. People learn how it all works, but really looking forward to seeing that dirt moving. It's, like I said, it's long overdue. I know I had something else, but I can't find it. Hopefully I'm gonna try to get by and see the Central Elementary tomorrow. Love seeing the career bus go out. The elementary school kids, seeing the high school kids come and teach them something, show them something. There again, that's our students learning how to give back to those who are coming behind them. I think with all these things that we've got going on here, we are producing excellent citizens of Amherst County, sending them out the door on their way, teaching them how we want them to be. So thank you all for all that you do. The reports that you give us are awesome. There's good news, there's bad news. We take it as it comes, and we just roll with it. So thank you very much. Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right. So, closed session. So pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia, it is recommended the board convene a closed meeting for the following: A2, student matters. The consideration for religious exemption requests will be discussed.
Okay. So, do we need a motion?
Need a motion.
Doing a motion, board?
I make a motion that we go into closed session.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Mr. Terry, you need to.
Oh, I gotta read this? I gotta read that one
yes.
piece, okay. I think you just said all that.
I know.
So in accordance with Section 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia, I need a motion from the board to convene a closed meeting to discuss the following: A2, student matters, the consideration for a religious exemption requested and disclosed. I have a motion?
I make a motion that we go into closed session for those reasons.
I'll second it again.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Closed session.